praise you for this day. We give you praise, God, for a great and wonderful year. Highs and lows, God. Your love, though, has been clear. Your hand of protection has been clear. And tonight, we thank you for that. We invoke your presence in this place. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on us. Allow us to make the decisions to have productive discussion that continues to make this great city greater. We pray, God, that you would speak to our hearts regarding the decisions that need to be made, the constituents that we're called to serve. Be our strength in all things that we need to accomplish. We pray, God, for everyone under the sound of my voice. We pray, God, for their families. We pray, God, for the communities that they reside in. God, as we bring this year to a close, let your love be the source that guides us, that helps us to make the decisions that move a great city and make it greater. We thank you now, God, for everything that will be said and done. We pray, God, that all of it would be done decent and in order. We thank you, God, for the mayor and the other elected officials of the cities and what they're called and required to do. Continue to guide them, be their sole source for everything, and we'll be ever mindful to give you the praise, the glory, and the honor. It's in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit that we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. All right, let's go on to Mayor's Office of Community Affairs presentations. Mr. Muhammad.
Good evening. Thank you again. We invited Pastor Dallas Scott out for the invocation. And of course, he, as always, he says, yes, anything you need, I'll be there. But we want to take this opportunity tonight to recognize the pastor for his work. Sunday was his final day at Maine Baptist Church as he goes into retirement and prepares to move to warmer climates. For the last decade plus, he served as the executive pastor of Maine Baptist. He's as synonymous with Maine Baptist Church as our senior pastor, the Reverend Dr. Julian Spencer. And they've worked in tandem together, doing so much. Pastor Dallas, as we know, instrumental in the community, but also internally in the church, in the restructuring and reviving ministries and just processes that really make Maine Baptist a shining light in the faith community. He's also led so much of their external community work as well, enhancing the legacy of Maine Baptist Church, increasing its community outreach, working very closely for his entire time with, of course, all the Women Heart Burns and the work in National Night Out and so many other things, including the most recent MLK Day celebration at MLK Park. He certainly will be missed. His presence will be missed, not just at Maine Baptist Church, but here throughout the city. Whenever we called upon him, he said yes. So many initiatives from the mayor, so many boards and so many panels that we needed a thought leader on. Pastor Dallas always says yes. So we're going to ask the mayor to come down and join the center as we sadly say farewell as he prepares to move on. And certainly presence felt, and we hope he always knows that Aurora is a foundation for him. And so as we present a special award on behalf of the mayor, if we can please give a round of applause for Pastor Dallas Scott. Come on down to the mayor. I'd be remiss if I did not also mention that he is a member of the best fraternity in the world, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Okay, I'm glad you're here, Joe.
Now, I was a proud member of the 7th Ward, having worked for so many years with Alderman Hart Burns and served at Maine Baptist in the heart of the 7th for so many years. I'm going to ask our Alderman Brandon Tolliver to join us here, new Alderman of the 7th Ward, so we can give you a sending off properly. So this Mayor's Award of Excellence is honorably presented to Pastor Dallas Scott for your transformative time as executive pastor of Maine Baptist Church and for your years of service to the greater Aurora community, where you have forever changed the lives of individuals and families. Best wishes to you in your retirement. Remember that Aurora is always home. All right, brother.
It's a good picture.
Any remarks, Pastor?
I've just enjoyed my time in Aurora tremendously. Prior to coming to Maine, I served in ministry in a neighboring community, and it was something about coming to Aurora that just stood a cut above everything I had done. The people, the call to serve, the need to serve, and the opportunity to serve alongside other committed people inside and outside the church. It has been a phenomenal opportunity and growing experience for me. I feel that as I retire, I'm a little wiser, a little stronger, less hair. But it's all been good, and I have no regrets, and I would not have changed anything that I've done. I believe Aurora is a city that's second to none. It's great, as I said in my prayer, and it's got a great future ahead of it. So thank all of you for the opportunity that you've given me. It's really been a great run.
Thank you, Pastor. He loved Aurora so much he ended up moving downtown Aurora here. I remember the first text he got, hey, I just got a new place, I'll move downtown. And he just enjoyed all the amenities that downtown brings us. Thank you so much, Pastor. Tonight we also recognize Friday, December 1st, is World AIDS Day. Designated on the 1st of December every year since 1988, an international day dedicated to raising the awareness of the AIDS pandemic caused by the spread of HIV infection, and mourning those who've passed, and just really also commemorating the advances that have happened here. This is the 35th anniversary of World AIDS Day. The theme this year is World AIDS Day 35, Remember and Commit. We know well in this city the work of Open Door Health Center, Open Door Clinic, as we know it here on the east side. The work that they began in 1993. So they celebrate their 30th anniversary this year, really taking the lead on being a premier advocate and worker on the HIV and AIDS causes. We're joined today, if they can please come down, the Executive Director of Open Door Health Center, Perry Meyer, and the Board President, Ronaldo Rodriguez. Let's give a round of applause, please. Come on down. Are there any aldermen that would like to join the mayor as we celebrate the work of Open Door Clinic?
It is my honor to read this proclamation for World AIDS Day, Friday, or we recognized it Friday, December 1st, 2023. Whereas the first World AIDS Day took place in 1988, providing a platform to raise awareness about HIV and AIDS and honor the lives affected by the epidemic. And whereas on World AIDS Day, we recommit to ending the HIV epidemic in the United States and around the world, and rededicate ourselves to fighting the discrimination that too often keeps people with HIV from getting the services they need and living the full lives they deserve. And whereas there has been incredible progress in preventing, detecting, and treating HIV, reducing case counts and AIDS-related deaths, and freeing millions of people to enjoy long, healthy lives. Whereas still, not everyone has equal access to the care. And for that, more than 38 million people around the world now living with HIV, especially members of the LGBTQ community, communities of color, women, girls. A diagnosis is still life-altering. And whereas the path to ending AIDS runs through communities, from connecting people to the treatment, services, and support they need, to grassroots activism pushing for action. And whereas since it first opened its doors here in Aurora in 1993, Open Door Health Center is the premier agency serving people at risk of and or living with HIV/AIDS, and helping to lead an increase in detection and testing and decrease in counts and death while sustaining its prevention initiatives. So now, therefore, I, Mayor Richard C. Irvin, do hereby proclaim December 1st as World AIDS Day and commemorate the 30th anniversary of Open Door Health Center in Aurora. Thank you for 3 decades of dedication here in our city. Gentlemen.
It's hard to believe that 35 years ago was the first World AIDS Day, and that we still have a lot of work to do. We still have to go out, provide prevention messages, education, give people access to care. Healthcare isn't just when you go to the doc. It is having a house or home to live in, to have food on your table to eat, and having access to services that are non-biased and stigma-free. Open Door has been around itself since 1977. Unfortunately, we were always called the best secret in town because not a lot of people knew about us. But those who needed our services knew about us. They knew where to come down on LaSalle Street. They came over there on Lincoln, and they came in and got care. Open Door exists, as it says here in the proclamation, for prevention, education, diagnosis, and treatment to those living with HIV and AIDS. We will continue to do that, and I am proud to stand here with the alder people and with the mayor and everyone else. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Parent, for your work and best wishes this weekend. We know you have a number of activities happening this weekend. We thank you. And Mayor, we have an additional presentation. I know it wasn't on the books, but we're going to ask our chairman of the Aurora Education Commission, the superintendent of District 129, to join us. The dean of all superintendents here in Aurora, Illinois, Dr. Jeff Craig. If we can give him a round of applause. He has a special presentation. And I know Alexandru, if you can please step over as well. I know he's in the other room. Double A.
Clayton, you can call me late to dinner. You'll still be one of my favorite people, so I appreciate all of the above. The honor is mine. Mayor Irvin, members of City Council, I want to thank you for allowing me to take a few moments to address you tonight. Back in 2019, I wanted to find a unique way of recognizing past and present members of our school community. And I began this tradition that was meant to instill pride, honor a person for a special achievement, or acknowledge outstanding performance over time. The recipients embody 4 characteristics: courage, excellence, integrity, and commitment. It's basically a symbol of respect. So when I started this, I told the story of the origin of the challenge coin, which dates back to World War I. And it's been used primarily in the military, police, political exchanges, world-level athletic competitions, think the Olympic Games. So I said, why not education? So I've had the honor to be able to award a select few of these thus far to some of our West Aurora legends: Neil Ormond, Kristen Zeman, Gordy Kirkman. So tonight I want to acknowledge the relationship, the collaboration, and the partnership between the West Aurora School District and the City of Aurora. At this time, through the traditional handshake, I want to offer our challenge coin to 2 leaders in the City of Aurora. First, as was mentioned, this individual created the very first education commission for the City of Aurora and has been staunchly supportive of our mission in the West Aurora School District. So I would like to award to Mayor Richard C. Irvin, if you would, sir. So even though you yell Tomcats, you're going to have a West Aurora. And I would offer the second challenge coin to an individual who has been instrumental in helping us successfully navigate the many challenges of a school district. and he subscribes to the philosophy of GSD, get stuff done. So I'd like to award a second coin to Mr. Alex Alexandru. Absolutely. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well deserved.
Well, let me just say, I am absolutely honored, brother. You know, I was on that stage when you gave Kristen Zeman that first challenge coin, that first coin, and I was wondering where mine was as I stood on the stage and she was looking at hers and, and coveting it, and I walked off, empty-handed. But now I'm happy to say that I have joined the ranks of those that have received this prestigious honor. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
We probably ran out of time because Alex spoke that way.
I honestly, I'm speechless. I didn't expect this at all, Doc. And, I'm a proud resident of Aurora. My two boys had the privilege of going through the West Aurora School District. Some wonderful friends along the way. In fact, I even told you the other day, I think, that whenever my boys come back from school, they don't talk about their college friends. They get together and they can't wait to get together with their West Aurora classmates, so lifelong friends. And we would not trade this experience being in Aurora for the world. And we are blessed with world-class school districts, parents who care, teachers who care, administrators who kick butt. And I'm just so, I don't know what to say. I'm just flabbergasted. I don't deserve this, but thank you and thank the board and thank you. And we still got work to do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You're not done yet.
Roger that.
Thank you.
Go Black Hawks.
Go Black Hawks.
I have a witness.
There's a first time for everything, Mayor. First time for everything. I'm sorry.
For the people in the back.
So nice.
Applause to Mayor Irvin.
And a special thanks to Dr. Jeff Craig. Appreciate you, brother. And acknowledging the presence of the West Aurora Community Affairs Director, Ana Gonzalez, as well. Thanks for everything that you all do. So, surprise, Mayor and AA. That wasn't on your list, but we're happy that West Aurora is honoring you. We now turn the mic over for our final presentation from HelloFresh with an update on what's happening at their facility here in Aurora.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having us. My name is John Childs. As many of you know, I've been here a couple of times to update you on the progress we've made at our facility here in Aurora, and I'm here to do that again tonight. So if you please go to the next slide, I'll go over an agenda. So our agenda tonight, I want to reemphasize our commitment to this city, which I've done in every, thank you so much, appreciate it. In every session since we've started presenting to this body. Going to provide an update at a high level on the initiatives we've done and the steps we've taken here in the city. I'll then hand the mic over to my colleague Dave Wingerhoff, who will go into details regarding the communication we've had with the Illinois EPA, the investments we've made on noise and vibration management at our Aurora facility, light management initiatives, and our plan for aroma control. And then I'll finish the presentation by talking about our plans for the Restore building here in Aurora. So with that, I just want to reemphasize our commitment. Sorry. Factor is here to stay. We're a part of this community, and we enjoy being a part of this community. We enjoy the dialogue and the communication with the city, the investments we've made, and we plan to continue to do that. And part of that is an open dialogue that we've had with the mayor's office, the city, our representatives here in the city, to continue to understand how we can improve our operations on an ongoing basis and continue to make investments to make us an even better part of this community. And so that's what I want to emphasize tonight is that something we plan to do, we have done, and we intend to continue to do into the near future. As I've said, we've heard the feedback over the course of the last, over the course of this year, and we've invested and have investigated those concerns. So we've invested in measures to improve our operation and impact the impact areas of concern that have been raised to us with regards to noise, odor, light that we're going to talk about tonight. And so with that, we've also engaged a number of third-party research firms who have done independent studies regarding sound and odor and air that we're going to talk about tonight and share some of those results. And want to emphasize that we'll continue to do that to make sure that we monitor the impact of our investments on the broader community, make sure we're having that positive impact that we intend to do and get the data behind that impact. And finally, we're going to continue to closely monitor both independently on our own and through independent studies, noise, vibration, odor, and light, so that way we can continue to make investments to improve our operation in the near future. So the progress we've had to date. We've had a number of milestones since we've last spoken. I'll go over those at a high level, and then I'll hand it off to Dave to go into a bit more detail. We've had an ongoing dialogue with the Illinois EPA, and we've recently obtained what's called a ROS permit for our facility in Aurora, and Dave's going to talk about exactly what that is and why that applies to us. But to date, Factor and HelloFresh have not been found in violation of any codes, and no fines were assessed from the EPA on our operations. We continue to operate and make improvements to our yard operations. We have off-site parking for trucks that arrive early to make sure they're not idling nearby in the back parking area for trucks. We have scheduling software to make sure that trucks don't arrive too early and they have a scheduled appointment. And we have security guards that are monitoring the perimeter of the facility to make sure that trucks aren't idling, as well as a number of signs up to make sure that their drivers that are new to our facility are reminded we have a no idling policy near our docks. And we'll continue to do that and plan to make improvements over the near future. Thirdly, we're continuing to invest in operational improvements, specifically operational improvements regarding noise, vibration, and food aroma. And we'll show photos about some investments we've made with regards to those, and specifically with the improvements we made for the light we emit. And we're going to show photos in the preceding presentation that show the impact that the adjustments we made to lighting have had on the broader community. And finally, we're going to show photos of the investments we've made with regard to the sound barrier we recently installed and the impact that has had on the sound that our facility emits to the broader community. And Dave's going to go over the study that we commissioned independently in order to show the data behind the impact of that sound wall. We'll show photos of the driveway repairs we've made in the back near our docks to improve, again, the sound coming from our dock areas. And finally, Dave's going to go over our plan for aroma control. And with that, I'll hand it off to Dave to talk about ROS program.
Thanks, John. Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for having us back. Appreciate the opportunity to share with you some more detail about the topics that John just highlighted for you. So let me first of all start off. We've had, over the last 6 or 8 months, we've had very in-depth conversations with the EPA, the Illinois EPA. As a part of that, we have submitted and received a ROS permit for our facility. A ROS permit is basically intended as a simpler way for companies such as ours to apply and register with the EPA so that they know what we're doing and what we are how we're operating our facility and our equipment in the facility. It's easier than a more significant source that has to go through much more arduous application processes. This is one that the EPA has done specifically for companies such as ours or other smaller companies. Basically, even though it's a simpler process, it's important to note that any source, we would be a source since we burn natural gas in our kitchens, any source must still comply with all applicable environmental and regulatory environmental challenges. So all EPA requirements are still met. They're just easier to get to the registration of the facility. The emissions actually from this source have to be less than a specified amount that is specified by the EPA. This is not a once and done certification. This is an annual recertification. We have to certify as a company what our gas burning level is, and we have to report that and register that every year with the EPA. And finally, the emissions calculations include all of our non-exempted equipment. And non-exempted equipment in our case are all of our kitchen equipment, for example, our ovens, our grills, and that sort of thing. So that's what's included in the calculation from the EPA, and that's what we've gone through. And then it's important to note that, you know, we have just received this ROS certification. When the ROS process or regulations were first installed, a company like ours was never foreseen in the regulations. So we were not listed as a type of company. So restaurants were exempt, and hotels and cafeterias and that sort of thing were exempt from any type of permitting. When we met with the EPA, they understood what our level of gas burning is and the type of business we are, and they asked us if we would be willing to apply for a ROS permit. And so we proactively, voluntarily agreed to do such a thing. And we did that, and we received their permit. If I'm going the right way here. So let me talk a little bit about noise and vibration management. John mentioned we have done a lot of work. In our last couple presentations here, we talked about the sound wall that we were putting up. As you can see from these photos, the sound wall is up. It expands the entire back property line of the Factor facility, and it is now complete. The ground has been regraded, reseeded, trees have been trimmed back, etc., and that project is now closed out. And I'm going to show you in the next slide. I'm going to show you what the resulting information or performance of that sound wall actually is. Also in this photo, in the bottom photo, shows our driveway repairs. The driveway originally was our original driveway that dated back to when it was a Lowe's facility. Obviously got old and started to deteriorate. We wanted to replace that because we know that when trucks were driving over it, they could create noise, and so some sound would come from the trucks hitting what is essentially a very big pothole. And so we have just completed, as you see, all the replacement of that entire driveway on the back of the property line, which is a pretty complicated thing given that we were an operating facility during the time. So that's these two projects we said last time we were here that we would be working on and completing, and we have completed them. So let's talk a little bit about the sound study. We said after we completed the sound wall, we wanted to complete another sound study. And so we conducted a study through an outside firm, Kimberly Horn. It's a nationally recognized sound consulting company. We conducted this test on the 9th and 10th of November. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble. My old eyes are having trouble seeing the screen all the time. We picked these days because for a couple of reasons. One is that Thursday and Friday Thursdays and Fridays are some of our busiest days. So we wanted to make sure that we were capturing noise or sound emitted by our facility that would be on not a low volume day, but on a worst case type of day. So we wanted to make sure that we were being honest with ourselves and honest with everybody else about what we were doing. We also wanted to pick a date as soon as possible before snow hit. We did make it before the snow hit, if you don't count Halloween. And there was no snow on the ground because we know that snow also will dampen sound and noise as it progresses throughout a neighborhood or whatever. So we picked these dates, and we feel very good about that these were very typical and heavy use days for our facility. So the results really demonstrate basically the sound wall, and I'll explain how we know this, but the sound wall basically reduces the sound transmitting from our side of the fence to the neighborhood side of the fence by about 17% reduction. So it's a pretty significant reduction. The most important thing to note that from our study, and the study, we're still waiting, I have to be honest with you, we're still waiting for the final report. This was kind of an early read. I wanted to get the data in advance so that I could share some data with you today. But basically, Orchard Road is the absolute primary and loudest source of noise contributor impacting both the neighborhood and Factor. It is a constant and continuous rumbling and motor engines from trucks and that sort of thing. And you can see that the red bars on the to the left of each of these groups, and this is morning, noon, and night. The red bar indicates noise coming from decibel readings coming from a sensor right next to Orchard Road, on our property, but right next to Orchard Road. The next bars over are the Factor side of the fence. The gray bar and the yellow bar are Factor sides of the fence. And then the green bar and the pink bar are the neighborhood side of the fence. So if you look at the two, and you can see it on the map, it's kind of maybe a little hard, but basically the gray bar and the green bar are sensors that are in the same basic proximity, but on either side of the sound barrier fence. So you can see the reduction that the sound barrier produces. Yellow versus pink, same thing. Then we also, and I'm not sure you can see it very easily, but in the blue line here, the neighborhoods is a neighborhood sensor. We placed a sensor in the neighborhood on sort of in that vacant lot, pretty much as at the far end of the group. And you can see the background noise that's in the community. The blue bar is relatively similar to all the other bars on the sound barrier fence on the neighborhood side of the fence. So we do know it's working. We do know that the main primary source of sound is not from Factor, but it's from Orchard Road. Really important to know. Our sound barrier fence is working. We're actually very happy with it. And I think it looks pretty nice as well. So. The next one we want to do is talk about light concerns. And this was raised as an issue. We talked about it last time that we were installing or had installed new cowling over some lights. We've re-aimed the lights. We've purchased new style of lights. I wanted to show you what the results of that is. So in the lower right-hand corner, that streak of light is our back driveway. It has to be lit for safety, for our truck drivers, for our employees, and that sort of thing. So that is the light that is shining on our driveway on our property. The next arrow over towards the left is where the sound barrier fence is. And so that's at the top of the berm that separates our property from the neighborhood property. And then all the rest of the other two arrows and the lights that you see to the left, further to the left, are, or the black actually that you see further to the left, is the neighborhood in the area. So you see street lights and you see a couple of neighborhood backyard lights, floodlights, whatever, but you see no egress of light from our building past the sound wall. So I thought it was important to be able to kind of show that and delineate that for you. So then finally, John talked about that we are still in the process of working on aroma control. So let's understand, cooking aromas are a natural occurrence from any type of kitchen or hot food preparation facility. It just It's what it is. It happens in your kitchen and it happens in our facilities, and it's just natural. It is not creating any type of hazardous conditions to the facility. It's not natural gas burning. It's not any of that. It is just food aromas that are escaping the building. In Aurora, we have our large hood systems covering our ovens. Those aromas are then drawn out through those hood systems and then exit the building about 30 feet above street level after our roof, all right? And depending on wind, humidity, temperature, of course, these aromas can be detected on certain days for some neighboring properties. So it all depends on wind direction and other environmental conditions that can create more or less of an apparent aroma there. So what are we doing about it? That's great that that's the explanation for it, but what are we doing about it? We're looking at a number of things. We are looking at a new grill technology. We do a lot of grilling in our facility. We are looking at a new grill technology that we're in the process of piloting actually at a new facility that we just opened up in Goodyear, Arizona. And that will, if it proves out to be successful, will reduce further the amount of vapors or aromas that are escaping the facility and actually will be captured more in the equipment itself and removed that way. We haven't proven that out yet. We're just starting it up, so that's still something that's happening, but we're hopeful about that. We're also looking at activated charcoal as a way to filter out anything that does get emitted from our building. We're looking at a water or mist type of scrubbing system that will remove aroma, and then we're also looking at potentially elevating the ejection point of the aromas even higher. Each of these, I have to be honest, each of these has its opportunities, but also each of them has its challenges, and we're trying to really evaluate, before we install it, we're trying to evaluate what is the very best technology that will get the best results and be obviously able to be managed easily by the facility as well. Our next steps are really trying to continue the test in our Arizona facility and understanding the efficacy and operational impacts of all of these. We're looking at then purchasing that new equipment. We have already budgeted it, so it's in the capital plan, so it's not about that. It's all about we want to pick the right equipment. We want to align with the city of Aurora and the building and zoning for all our permits that would be required for whichever we do. And then we want to purchase and install that equipment. It will happen now in probably late first quarter or into second quarter. Unfortunately, that's delayed. The EPA in our conversations did ask us to hold off on doing anything until they understood our operation better. They now understand it, and they are totally on board with us doing any of these types of things as we see fit. So that's the current plan right there. And I'm going to turn it back over to John.
Thank you, Dave. To close out, I want to talk about our plan for what has been known as the Restore building, which is a building in the same vicinity right next to our production facility. In the photo that I've provided, our production facility is located on the right, and the former building that was known as Restore is on the left. We were notified over the summer that this building would become available late summer, early fall. And we took the opportunity to assume the lease of that building. The plan for that is pretty simple. We have a number of corporate employees that are located in a variety of different areas in the broader suburbs of Chicago. We have a small office in Batavia. We plan to close that down and consolidate those employees into this office space and also hire some additional employees into that office space. We plan next year to make Class A office space upgrades to this facility in order to make it a bit of a more proper office type environment. Right now it's unoccupied. We have permits that are going through the city for some small upgrades on electrical, so on and so forth, in order to properly get our certificate of occupancy and have folks start to work in this building. So that's our plan for the Restore to clear things up. And with that, I'll close it out with a bit of summary of next steps. As Dave mentioned, we're pursuing aroma technology, aroma reduction technology, and we plan for that installation early next year. We're going to conduct a vibration study in early 24 once the winter abates and the snow is off the ground and we can get a proper reading in order to understand the impact of our improvements to vibration. We're going to continue to be in compliance with the new Ross permit and the Aurora zoning and permitting. To be clear, the investments we're making are not to get into compliance. We've always been in compliance with the zoning. We've always been in compliance with the IEPA. What we're doing right now is to better improve our operations so that we can be a better member of the community, receive feedback, and continue to improve our operations. That's why we're making the investment, not to get into compliance in our operations, to be clear. Like I said before, in December, we're going to relocate our Chicago area staff into the building adjacent to our production facility and make some broader campus improvements. And finally, we're going to continue the dialogue with the city, receive feedback, and make a variety of improvements as we get that feedback over the foreseeable future. With that, I want to thank everyone for your time tonight and open the floor to questions.
All right, I'll ask the Alderman in a second if they have any questions. I actually have a few before I pass it off to the Alderman. I just want to be clear, this raw certification that you got from the Illinois EPA, that was not a requirement for your type of business that you run. It was not a requirement at all. Is that correct?
For EPA questions, I'm actually going to hand it. Thank you for the question. I'm going to hand over to the expert.
Thanks for the question, Mayor. Yes, so the EPA and Factor agreed that it's unclear in the regulations, and so because it's unclear, we agreed we would just go ahead and do it.
Gotcha.
And file for it.
But when you say it's unclear, there wasn't anything they were requiring you to do at that
Correct.
particular time, but you said if it's unclear, we'll go ahead and file for
Correct.
it to be a good neighbor in the city of Aurora.
Correct.
Right. And it's clear there have been, at the city council, a number of members of the community that have had complaints about noise, smell, things like that. So it sounds like it's been a work in progress, but you've attempted to address every complaint that has come across your desk from the community?
We have attempted, and I think we've been successful at addressing each and every one of these complaints, yes.
And I know one of the complaints was odor, and one of the ways, other than things that you've done to address those complaints, was to have a scrubber. Is that right?
So the scrubber has not been installed.
No, but that was one of the ways that you were
It was
attempting to address it.
which got delayed to a large part because of the EPA ongoing conversations.
Right.
Correct.
So you were willing to do it immediately, but EPA told you to hold off.
Correct.
Until they looked into what exactly the scrubber was and how it
That's
affected
correct.
it. Right. But as soon as they give you the green light, you're throwing that scrubber on as well. Is that right?
We have to pick this right scrubber technology, but yes, we are prepared to do it right away.
And what does that cost, do you know?
What does it cost?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So anytime we talk about costs, I get an email the next day from our CFO asking why I'm talking about costs on the city council.
And I asked that question to show that you're willing to invest whatever is necessary to make sure that you continue to be committed to progress in addressing any complaints.
That's correct. It's a meaningful investment,
Yeah.
I would say.
Alderman Franco.
Well, thank you for the report. Thank you for everything you've done. I know that it's been a long, slow process. I know that government agencies kind of hold things back, but I do appreciate that you guys have moved forward without having a mandate, without having a violation, without having a court order. So thank you. We're hoping it gets done quick, because there's concerns out there, but I think you guys have done a good job. We just got to keep it up and, keep the foot on the gas pedal. So thank you.
And we're committed to do that. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Any other questions from council? Alderman Bug? Alderman Lesh?
Well, first of all, thank you for the efforts that you put forward. I did speak to 2 residents who are in the immediate area just to hear some of their feedback, see where they were at. And they said that one that has a home monitor said that they have seen a significant reduction in the PM 2.5, which I'm assuming is diesel particulate matter from the trucks that were operating. But they're still seeing high levels of CO2s and VOCs on their home monitors. And then there's also a heavy smell of what they describe something similar to lighter fluid. Is that coming from one of the ovens or burners? Just curious where that's coming from and how that will be mitigated. That to me is, there's a number of concerns, and it's good that the lighting has been addressed. I didn't hear any lighting concerns. There's still some on sound and vibration, but the main one I think is air quality.
Yep. Thank you for the question. Much appreciated. Earlier in the year, we commissioned a firm called Langen to do an air quality study. I believe we provided that study to the city to make it available for review from the broader community. The results of that was that our facility really wasn't impacting air quality. There's a variety of things in the neighborhood, Orchard Road, other industrial areas that have an impact. And the results were such that our operations specifically weren't negatively impacting the air quality. Now, that being said, we're investing in aroma reduction technology to make sure that we can have improve our operations, so that way what the neighbors are experiencing is improved over time. What that's coming from, I believe a number of members of the city council and state senators and a variety of government officials have toured our facility. We run a pretty basic operation. It's a commercial oven and a couple grills, basically what you might find in your home. So the aromas truly are what would be produced from, say, a restaurant. And those are the aromas we've committed to reduce through this investment that Dave talked about.
Alderman Bog. Thank you. The last time you were here, I know there were questions about the idling trucks, and you started to address that this evening. Can you go into more in depth? You say you have security out front. Yep. They kind of guide them to a lot, which is further away. But if you could describe that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll sort of describe what I believe is the problem, and then what the solutions we have put in place, and then through our investment in our neighboring facility, what we believe can be an even better improvement. So if you look here at the production facility, just to the top left of that is a gate. It's a security gate. That's where a security guard is housed 24/7. That individual does a perimeter walk where the drivers might be to make sure that they're not idling if they're waiting. Now, if there's a line of trucks waiting to enter and it's not their appointed time, we have an off-site parking lot that's located to the east of the building, about 10 minutes away, where they can wait for their appointment. So that's still in place. Now, with the Restore investment, that gate is going to move to the left a few hundred feet. And so what I think might be happening is, as someone is checking in, because we have to check credentials, appointment time, so on and so forth, the cab is still on. That's they have to drive their truck. And so by moving that gate to the left, we're going to mitigate the impact of those drivers waiting to enter our facility. And that's also the secondary benefit of having the Restore. It's more of a campus, and we can move that idling that is going to occur anyway because they're checking in more further away from the neighborhood. And that's what we think another benefit of having that building is going to be.
Okay. So to follow up on that, we want to solve problems.
Yes, sir.
That's why we're here. So if next week, because we have received videos in the past.
Yep.
Of the idling trucks, and it wasn't just 4, 5, 10 minutes. I believe one video was almost a half hour.
Yep.
So if that is the case in the future, what is a resident or your security? What is their role? What do they do? Can a resident, is there a phone number on your sign that says, if there's an issue, call this number, or what is our process? That's
a very good question. And throughout the course of the year, I think Alderman Franco has received a number of those emails. What's helpful for us is to know the day and the time. And then that allows us to say, okay, well, we know that these drivers arrived at these times. And then we can address that with the trucking companies, because in the past we had a variety of idling that was happening on the road that was approaching our facility, which we've now attempted to make sure we can police that area. And by having the gate further out, we can have more control over that area. Now, we have a security team that, you know, is a contracted security team, and am I going to sit here and say that they're 100% perfect? You know, probably not. There's always some areas of opportunity to make sure that we're doing our perimeter walks on time, but we can give that feedback if we have the specific time and day, and then we can go back and make sure that, you know, our guards are holding up expectations, and as are the drivers. With the idea of the number, that's something that we haven't thought of, but I think it's worth for us talking about and exploring, because if there's Alderman Pringles does a great job of being, I guess, a middleman, but we just want to solve the problem as quickly as possible. So if there's a means for us to do that, then we're going to explore that, and I'm going to take that idea back to our team.
To Alderman Bugg's point, maybe it's very reasonable. You know, have you seen a truck driving down the street where it says, call this number, you know, if you see bad driving or something like that? So something where the average citizen, so they don't have to constantly go to Alderman Franco, can just call a number and say that a truck's been out there too long or something, and, you know,
I totally.
Of course, they would have to be within reason, but
Yes.
just communication is key. Any other questions, Alderman Smith?
Yes, thank you for that presentation. It was good to see you guys back and great to see the improvements you've been making. You have a facility in Arizona, correct? Is that what you were saying?
That's correct, in Goodyear, Arizona. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
and is that the only other one?
Well, in outside of the state of Illinois.
Okay, so I guess the reason why I asked that is, how is this facility different from your others, and are you having to do this type of management in your other facilities? Are you having the same type of issues? Are you having the odor, the vibrating and the light issues? Is this something that you've had to deal with in your other facilities?
Thank you for the question. The facility opened 2 months ago, and we sort of took the learnings from this experience and applied those in a large part to the opening of that facility. So, you know, the lighting and a lot of the pavement, it was a brand new facility, so a lot of the upgrades we had to make with the pavement and things like this in Aurora we didn't have to make in Arizona. So some things applied and some things didn't, but for the large, you know, to a large degree, we took a lot of those learnings and applied those to that facility. It is a little bit different in a sense that it's a bit bigger, and it just does our pick and pack, which is, you know, we produce meals here. We send that to a facility in Lake Zurich, where we have team members put those products in a box and then give it to FedEx and take it to the customer. Those two things are combined in Goodyear, so it's a little bit different, but for the large, you know, for the majority of the manufacturing operations, very similar.
Okay. Thank you.
Alderman Lesh.
I just wanted to follow up with the atmospherics. Are you doing anything to monitor the atmospherics? Because I've walked that neighborhood, and I can assure you it's not coming from the road or any other source. And the residents that have lived there for 10, 12 years say the same thing, that when you moved in, the atmospherics changed. And one gentleman even has his windows sealed up and hasn't unsealed them or opened his windows for the past 2 some years. So I guess to me, something needs to be done about.
Here's the question. Ask the question.
Well, I guess the question I ask is, are you monitoring the area yourself? And then perhaps, Mr. Mayor, my thought is that it would be
Let's answer that question first. And then
I'll ask, sure.
It's a good question, and I appreciate it. The direct answer is we don't actively monitor atmospherics because it's something that's outside of our expertise, and that's why we commissioned Langen to do the independent study for us.
And then I guess my question to the mayor or staff is, can we conduct an independent study on our own time in conjunction with when the residents might want that done? Because as you can imagine, these are people with home monitors, which their results might be easily dismissed, right? Because it's a home monitor, even though it's an EPA approved. But at the same time, they're dismissing a study that's commissioned by the company that's causing the pollution. So to me, some independent group and giving the residents some say in when that does and which company is picked, to me is the best approach to let them have a say in the process. And then I have one final question for the company when you're done.
Go ahead, Mr. Alexander.
Well, I think there were several points there, Alderman, so I'm going to try my best to address all of them. First of all, we haven't dismissed anybody's complaints or concerns. I receive regularly emails from neighbors. We, just like Alderman Franco has in the past, we forwarded them to the company. The company has used reputable third-party, some of the same folks we've used historically, like Kimley Horn. I don't know that we've used Langham, but these are nationally recognized companies that we don't believe are being directed or steered because they are taking independent samples at various times. We understand there are individuals, a few neighbors who are using some type of in-home device. I know one of the times that we received something, I don't know if it was to Alderman Franco or the mayor's office or both, but it was during the peak of the Canadian wildfire smokes, and the readings were off the charts. So we are trying to focus on data and evidence, and we're trying to allow this company to complete their work. They have made a major commitment to Aurora. You see today they're telling us that they're moving their corporate headquarters to Restore. So we are allowing them the time to get everything done, and then they have said tonight they are going to do additional testing. They will provide that to the city, and then the mayor and I have talked to them about a third-party independent already once all the work is done. But already you can see from tonight, the mayor and the staff was very pleased to see progress since the last time. And so I want to tell the neighbors and the council that every complaint that's been aired is being addressed or has been addressed. So there was a demand on the mayor's office to have a neighbors meeting. This is an independent company. They are violating no local ordinance. They are violating no state ordinance. There is no way that we can force them to do a neighbor meeting. And so we had this, they had committed to this last time, but it was a matter of timing to see when they would get the work done. And so we are respectfully working through the process with them, but we're also prepared to accept the final information, continue to monitor. But I just have a concern that there's this narrative of impropriety and that somehow we're looking the other way. The IEPA didn't look the other way. The sad reality is the IEPA complaint that was filed delayed some of this mitigation that the neighbors are asking for that you just mentioned by 6 months or more. And at the end of the day, it was unfounded. So as long as we're involved from an administration, we're looking at data and evidence, not, with all due respect, people who are not experts in the field. I'm not an air quality expert. My original bailiwick, as everybody knows, was risk management. But if we don't know the answers, we go and find experts who can. And that's what they were willing to do, and that's what they continue to do. And the city will do it as well. So that's where things stand. We're doing the best we can. They've made a lot of progress, and we're looking forward to getting this completed, retested, and then report back out to you in the community. And then from there, we'll decide on additional testing. So that's already been discussed.
Alderman, you said you had one final question.
Sure. Just what is your plan to engage the community and appreciate reaching out to them? And certainly I'm happy to help, and I'm sure Alderman Franco gets a lot of complaints. And, you know, we're the ones that get the 2 a.m. I can't sleep, there's vibrations next door. I can't breathe photos of
Understood.
people sleeping in masks. So we have to deal with that. And
So the question,
so the question is simply when and how would you be willing to engage the community?
Understood. As Alex said, we still have much to do. And then once we finish that work, specifically the aroma reduction work, we'll discuss that topic whenever the work is done.
thank you much. Any other questions from any other Alderman? Alderman Warren?
I'm not going to ask any numbers because I don't want you to get an email from your CFO, but all the work you talked about, you know, the coal, I don't remember exactly what you talked about, the coal reduction and things like that. Does that improve production at all? Is that strictly just for the aroma issues that are out there? Or does it improve
yeah.
cooking time? You know, is there another benefit to that? Or is this strictly done just to address concerns?
The hypothesis is that what I believe you're talking about is the different we call it inline grill. Yeah. The hypothesis is that it will. That's always the hypothesis
Sure.
with these things. So there will be a secondary benefit. We would do it anyway, though, even if there was no.
But the main reason you're looking into it is just to address any kind of aroma concern.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, and thank you for the updates.
Thank you guys very much. We appreciate you coming out and giving us the update. We look forward to you continuing the work, the hard work that you're clearly doing, and the progress that you're making, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
All right, that concludes any presentations. Let's go on to mayor appointments. Madam Clerk, will you read the first item under mayor appointments?
23-0816, a resolution approving reappointments of Nadia Kanai, Sunil Patel, Nitin Fildor, and Anu Krishnamurthy to the Indian American Community Outreach Advisory Board.
So motion to approve this resolution, so moved by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Raich. Any questions or discussions on this particular item? There being none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Yamas?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
12 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. The resolution is approved as Nadia, Sunil Patel, Sunil, Nitin, Anu, here today with us. If you are, please stand up and be recognized. All right, everybody stand up and be recognized. Let's give them a round of applause for their service. You guys, just hold on a minute. When we're done with calling all the appointments, I'm going to have you come down and take a picture with me in the front in just a second. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, will you call the next item under mayoral appointments?
23-0894, a resolution approving the reappointments of Dr. Yolanda Stovall, Keith Wise, Sandra Harrison, and Glenda Blakemore to the African American Heritage Advisory Board.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. Are there any questions or discussions regarding this resolution? There being none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Yamas?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
12 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. Resolution approved. Do we have Dr. Stovall, Keith Wise, Sandra Harrison, or Glenda Blakemore here with us this evening? Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for your service to our community. We'll have you come up and take a picture with us in a few seconds. Madam Clerk, you read the next item under mayoral appointments.
23-0897, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Megan Paul and Shannon Gutierrez to the Foxwalk Overlay District Design
So
Review
moved.
Committee.
Second.
There's a motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. Are there any questions or discussions on this resolution? There being none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Yamas?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
12 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. The resolution is approved. I see Shannon Gutierrez here with us today. Is Megan Paul with us as well? Shannon, if you want to stand up so we can recognize you, give you a round of applause. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service to our community. I'll have you come down in a few seconds to take a picture with us. Madam Clerk, read the next item.
23-0900, a resolution approving the reappointments of Cheryl Dodson Lewis, Melanie Wimbley, and the appointment of Gabriel Robinson to the Aurora Housing Authority Board.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Garza. Are there any questions or discussions on this resolution? There being none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Yamas?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
12 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. The resolution is approved. Do we have Cheryl, Melanie, or Gabe here in the room with us? If so, please stand up and be recognized. Thank you for your service to our community. We'll have you come down in a few seconds as well to take a picture. Read the last item under mayor appointments, Madam Clerk.
23-0904, a resolution approving the appointment of Jersey Kimbrough to the Aurora Youth Council.
So moved. Second.
There's been a motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Garza. Any question or discussions on this item? There being none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Yamas?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
12 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. The resolution is approved. Is Jersey here with us this evening? Oh, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for your service to the community. If everybody will join me in the well of the chamber here, we'll take a picture.
He will be removed. He's been removed more than once. What a good-looking group.
Here we go. Perfect. Let's give her a round of applause.
You know, I know many people are here for the presentations and our mayoral appointments. We're about to get into the regular portion of our meeting. So for those individuals that would like to take their leave, I'll give you an opportunity to follow. I see some people already heading toward the door. So you feel free to stay if you'd like, but we want to give you an opportunity to head out if you can, if you'd like to. So give them a few minutes to file out. Then you go ahead. You got some bathroom breaks there. All right, we're missing one alderman, but we'll go ahead and get started with public comment. I'm sure she'll make her way back as we begin. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
We do, Mr. Mayor.
Will you please read the rules of public comment?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the city council for up to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person other than the timekeeper or the chair for the purpose of maintaining order may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the city council shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with members of the public with respect to any concerns raised during public comment within the scope of the city's authority following the adjournment of this meeting.
All right, will you read the first person's name wishing to offer public comment this evening?
Brad Earl.
Mr. Earl? Come on, approach. You can approach right there at the mic. Are you sure you have 3 minutes to speak beginning now?
Okay, it's my first time publicly addressing any sort of city council. Been very interesting to see and very enlightening. I moved to Aurora in 2021, late 2021, and even when I was looking for, just a house in the area, one of the things I noticed is construction jobs here they're not in short supply, and that can be with small things like sidewalk repair, curb repair, pothole repair, to the larger things like what's currently going on Broadway right now. And while I don't understand fully what's happening there, I know part of it has been that the parking on the side of the streets is going away. And I'm someone who's a very big advocate for walkable cities and community core, and it's very clear to me that the city believes in building out the downtown core, but I also would like to see how it's going to be improved over, big projects like this. The last 2 jobs that I've had out in this area have been in downtown. As an audio engineer, I was able to walk to work at both of them. And I don't know how many people are even really afforded that luxury. And furthermore, I don't know why that's considered a luxury, because we're surrounded by artisan businesses, and that can be from professional studios to some of the, best food around, honestly. The Aurora downtown versus how the Geneva downtown is set up as a community, I've heard that we look at our downtown more as a place for in-state tourism, for people to come out for entertainment. But I wonder about the efficacy versus having a more community-centric infrastructure. And I don't have anything to put forth. I'm just speaking on behalf of myself and my experience of having lived in this community, and very grateful and proud to be a part of it. It's a very diverse cultural community, and it has been very welcoming and very fruitful since I left Chicago, which, I'm happy to be out of there. As of now, I think that's really all I wanted to say. Just wanted to get my comments out there as an individual citizen. Thank you.
Thank you, kind sir. Let me say you did a great job. It's your first time speaking in front of a public body. Welcome to Aurora. Deputy Mayor Memo Trujillo. I don't know if Alex Voigt is still here. I want to hook him up with some of our committees that deal with pedestrian walkability and bikeability, so he knows what's going on here in our city. So welcome to Aurora.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So if we can connect him so he knows exactly what our plans are for Aurora. Thank you very much. Okay. Ben Carson. I'm sorry. Why don't you call the next speaker, Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ben Carson.
Mr. Carson, you have 3 minutes to speak beginning now.
Hello, thank you, Mayor Irvin and City Council, for the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Ben Carson. Grew up here in southeast Aurora, spent most of my life here. And I want to talk about some similar things that Brad did. I enjoy riding a bicycle, not only for recreation, but also to get around, as I don't have a car. And I want to bring to you a bit of a more difficult topic. On November 13th, Monday, about 4 p.m., there was a 16-year-old boy that was riding on a bicycle trail on Montgomery Road in Route 34 Ogden. He was struck by a Ford F-450 and killed. And according to the Aurora Police Department website, it was classified as a traffic incident. And to be honest with you, that makes me pretty upset. And I think we can do a lot better than that. My intention here is not to throw any blame around, but I think to bring up some questions that we should probably be asking. Was the driver negligent? If they were, why were they negligent? If they weren't negligent, why is the city or that area, why is that an accident that can just happen? Why is that something that we would accept? And people have barely talked about it. I don't think a 16-year-old kid wanting to ride their bike to the store should have to worry about being killed in the street. And one of the reasons why that's so personal to me is I was actually cycling with my 2 younger brothers at the very intersection, crossing in the same direction, and they almost got run over by a driver that wasn't paying attention. There's no crosswalk there. There's a major bike trail that goes down Montgomery, and there's a Walgreens on the opposite side of Montgomery Road, but there's no way to safely cross there, and that's where that boy was killed and where I almost watched my brothers get run over. And I just want to bring that up because I think not just that there's an issue at that particular intersection, but I think that it's a larger cultural issue, that anyone that's outside of a car, they're not prioritized, or in that case even given the ability to get around safely. And I've experienced that a lot, cycling around, even to try to get to work. I've had jobs along the bike trail that I haven't been able to ride a bike to because it was just so dangerous. And bring this up because I think we can do a lot better, and I know that there's a lot of push to revitalize Aurora, and I'm all for that, and I think that's really important. A lot of other points that Brad brought up as well. As I'm sure you know, the population of Aurora has declined about 20,000 people in the last 12 years. And I think these kind of issues are really important to help reverse that and help the city grow again and let people get around safely and keep it a strong community. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Mayor, please speak with Mr. Carson as well. Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Jillian Gibson.
Ms. Gibson, you have 3 minutes to speak, beginning now.
Thank you. I'm going to piggyback on what they have to say. I am a mother of an elementary child at Georgetown, a middle school child at Fisher, and a junior at Wabansie who lost his friend. So I am asking on behalf of my neighborhood and on my area that we look into a safety study on the area of Ogden, not just at Montgomery Road, but Montgomery, Ogden, Neola, and Long Grove, as there's been 3 adult deaths and 1 student death in the last few years that I've lived here. I know that the district is pushing to stop busing across Ogden and Neola for a lot of other areas, which means we're going to have more students crossing these areas. We're going to have more kids who cut corners, and let's be honest, they're kids, right? We can make all the rules in the world, but we can't stop them from making bad choices. So I would like to see a safety study. I would like to be involved in any way possible to help stop our kids and our adults from getting hurt while they are walking or biking. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Nate Pickler.
Mr. Pickler, you have 2 minutes to speak, beginning now.
Thank you. I'm Nate Pickler. I'm here to talk about the HelloFresh presentation that we just listened to, and I want to address a few things. First of all, the idling trucks. The trucks do not idle, but the refrigerated trailers do. I have spoken to the security officers, and they said they cannot have the truck drivers turn off the refrigerated units. Those vibrate more than the trucks themselves. So that's something that needs to be looked into as well. Odors do harm. How strong they are can be nauseating. It can permeate your entire house and follow you around everywhere. It is psychologically harmful. As far as the sound wall, there's been no perceptible difference. It hasn't worked. It's the wrong kind of wall, and neighbors have not been able to detect any difference with the sound or the vibrations. They're still just as bad as they were before. I want you to remember that our problems haven't been solved, and we hope they will get solved in the future, but as of right now, none of them have been properly taken care of. So, thank you.
Do we have any additional speakers, Madam Clerk?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
All right, that concludes public comment. Let's go on to the next portion of the agenda. Next, we will hear both the consent agenda and the direct to council consent agenda in full. Will the clerk now please read both agendas in full?
230710, an ordinance amending Chapter 13 of the Code of Ordinances pertaining to the licensure of retailers authorized to sell all tobacco, nicotine, alternative nicotine products, or vape products. 230842, a resolution authorizing Presence Behavioral Health Employee Assistance Program from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2026. 230844, a resolution awarding contracts to supply processed chemicals for the Water Production Division. 230845, a resolution adopting unit price bids for the on-call full replacement of disturbed lead water service lines in 2024 within the city. 230858, a resolution establishing the maximum number of Class B on-site consumption liquor licenses unofficially related to the application for Muchacho Alegre at 1941 West Galena Boulevard in Ward 5. 230872, an ordinance amending Chapter 47 of the City of Aurora Code of Ordinances entitled Trees, Shrubs, and Weeds. 230874, a resolution approving the arboricultural specification manual for the City of Aurora. 230879, a resolution approving the purchase of bulk rock salt in the amounts of $70.15 and $70.72 per ton from Morton Salt in Chicago for the Division of Street Maintenance under the State of Illinois Joint Purchasing Agreement bid for the 2023-2024 winter season. 230885, a resolution authorizing a 2-year instrumentation service agreement with the Hawk Company for $161,678.51 for the Water Production Division. 23-0888, a resolution authorizing the city to accept a donation of real property owned by H. Linden and Sons Development on South Spencer Street in Aurora. 230895, a resolution establishing the maximum number of Class B on-site consumption liquor licenses unofficially related to the application from Nori Aurora at 2933 Kirk Road in Ward 1. 230896, an ordinance amending Chapter 6 of the Code of Ordinances pertaining to the licensure of retailers authorized to sell alcoholic liquor. 230905, a resolution authorizing the execution of a Phase 2 supplemental engineering agreement with Baxter Woodman and appropriating motor fuel tax funds in the amount of $18,833 for the Montgomery Road and Cults Road traffic signal installation project. 230906, a resolution awarding the 2024 sanitary sewer televising contract to Pipeview LLC in the amount of $517,075.50. 230913, a resolution establishing the maximum number of Class A package sales gas station beer and wine only liquor licenses unofficially related to the application from Shiva Aurora at 300 West Galena in Ward 2. 230924, a resolution to renew a 12-month agreement with AT&T for interstate services in the amount of $172,440. 230950, a resolution approving the appointment of Justin Kohler as Director of Building and Permits. 230951, a resolution establishing the maximum number of Class D downtown core on-site consumption liquor licenses unofficially related to the application from Little Piano, New York at 33 West New York Street in Ward 6. 230955, approval of the minutes of the Tuesday, November 14th, 2023 City Council meeting. 230956, approval of the draft closed session meeting minutes from the Tuesday, November 14th, 2023 City Council meeting.
Been a motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Garza. Before we entertain those, the motion and second, are there any motions to remove any items from the consent agenda, the direct to council consent agenda, or any questions on either agenda? There being none, there being a motion and a second, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Alderman Yamas?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
12 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. The consent agenda and direct to council consent agenda are approved. We have no unfinished business. There is no new business. I know Alderman Bug has to leave. Let the record reflect that Alderman Bug is leaving City Council chambers. Let's go on to the Treasurer's Report, third quarter 2023 report. I acknowledge receipt of the Treasurer's Report for the third quarter 2023. Does staff wish to give a short presentation on that?
Just a few brief remarks, Your Honor. Enclosed in the packets this evening are the Treasurer's reports for the third quarter of 2023. We'll focus on the September payment, and I'll give some comments related to that particular report. Obviously, as the name implies, we're now 3/4 of the way through the fiscal year, and we have received most of our significant property tax distributions from each of the individual counties, although we did receive another fairly substantial disbursement of property taxes from Kane County in October. Our trends for financial performance are positive as of September 30th. Things are good from a financial perspective. In the general fund, we've received approximately $186 million, almost $187 million in revenues. That compares with an expenditure level of about $159 million, resulting in a roughly a $27 million surplus for the general fund as of 9/30 of 2023. The revenue level of 187 million corresponds to approximately 84% of the annual budgeted amount, and revenues are trending to be essentially in line with or maybe slightly above the budgeted amounts. One of the things that happens is because we get those large distributions of property taxes, sometimes it slightly skews the percentage of our revenues, makes it look a little higher in the months when we receive those big chunks of revenue from the counties. Our expenditures are translating to about 71% of the budgeted amounts at this point. And we're currently trending to be slightly below budget for the remainder of the fiscal year. In terms of the general fund revenues, our income tax, our personal property replacement tax receipts from the state of Illinois, building permits, ambulance revenues, and interest income are all trending higher than anticipated at this point. In addition, the enterprise funds are showing primarily positive results. We do have surpluses in the water and sewer fund as well as the airport fund, and the golf fund is posting just a slight deficit at the end of September on a cash basis. There's nothing else tremendously remarkable in the treasurer's report at this point, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone may
Questions? Thank Alderman Messiah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Minnick. When you were here not too long ago, you mentioned that we had a 44% surplus, or I should say 40% lower budgeted funds expended to date, and budgeted. As of right now, what's that percentage? September 30th.
Of expenditures, I'm sorry?
How much lower is it compared to budgeted funds? You mentioned 20 million, but what's that percentage-wise, if you don't mind?
Percentage-wise, we would be about 4% below budget. If you think about the general fund, we should be at about 75% of budget, being 3/4 of the way through the fiscal year. We're actually at 71%, so we would be trending about 4% below budget at this point.
How much was that?
4%?
4% less at this point?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you, okay. Because you said you plan lower overall expenditures than budgeted by the end of the year.
Yes, and we're maintaining that trend right now.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Any other questions? There being none, let's go on to the Corporate Funds Investment Report, third quarter 2023. I acknowledge receipt of the third quarter 2023 Corporate Fund Investment Report. Mr. Bennett, do you have any short presentation to give?
Yes, just the corporate fund investment report actually lists out the investments and that the city has on deposit at the end of September. Additionally, any third quarter activity is included in that report. Currently, we have about $351.5 million in investments at this particular time. Be happy to answer any questions that anyone may have related to it, but pretty standard report.
Questions on the investment? There being none, thank you very much. We appreciate it. No action needed on these items. Thank you for your information, Mr. Minnick. Great job. Is there a motion to approve and pay the bills as listed on the agenda? Motion made by Alderman, a motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Lash.
I have one question.
On the bills?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So there's been a motion second on the bills. Are there any questions or discussions? Alderman Lash.
Just the item 15. I'll give you a minute to find it. The Chicago Premium Outlet expansion, $1.8 million coming out of TIF 8. Just what overview of what that was for, and I'm confused because I thought TIF 8 is not the outlet mall.
TIF 8 is actually the back half. What would that be? Eastern half of the outlet mall is where TIF 8 is located. There is a redevelopment agreement that we do rebate them a portion of the incremental revenue that flows into TIF 8 on an annual basis. That was per the redevelopment agreement that was approved back in the 2013, 2014 timeframe.
Okay.
So that's what that is. What's
Do
that?
you know what the percent is?
I believe,
I can look up the RDA and see.
okay, I believe at this point, it's a 90%, but that's, an educated guess at this point. So, yeah.
No further
So there's
questions,
been a
Mr. Mayor.
motion, I'm sorry? There's been a motion, and I'm assuming that was a second, that you got motion and second. Any other questions on the bills? There being none, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Alderman Yamas?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug? Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
11 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries, the bills are approved. There is no need for a closed session this evening. Is there a
Mr. Mayor,
motion
may I,
to close? I'm sorry.
may I say something?
Yes, Alderman Smith, before we adjourn.
Yes, so before we adjourn tonight, I just want to make something crystal clear based on some of the comments we had today. The death of Miguel is not going unattended or unacknowledged, but it is under police investigation. And we are taking this very seriously. And when the police investigation is over, we will have further discussion. And I ask all of you to not jump to judgment against the city, against the police, against the driver of the car. Let's let the investigation occur. Once that occurs, Alderman Tolliver and I have this in order. We're going to work with the community and make sure that we have a listening session where we can hear what people want, and we'll move forward from there. But, you know, on behalf of the family and on behalf of the city and on behalf of the police, we need to let the process occur. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there being no further business coming before the city council, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
The motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.